There is a beach in the Maldives that has a glowing blue tide at night. A man in Yellowstone has an 800 plus pound pet grizzly bear named Brutus. Brutus was the best man at his wedding and occasionally has a place at the family dinner table. A South African farmer named Marius Els rescued a baby hippopotamus from a flood and brought it home. He fed him, brushed his teeth, and raised him. 6 years later, Els was found dead in the river with several bite marks all over his body. The animal, which weighed over a ton, bit him, dragged him into the water, and killed him. During World War I, the Ottoman Empire was responsible for the mass murder of 1 million ethnic Armenians that lived in Anatolia and adjoining regions. This event was the basis on which the word genocide was created. The Armenian genocide is the second most studied genocide in history after the Holocaust. In 2018, when a boat accident took place in Nigeria, a 38-year-old man named Joseph Blankson sacrificed his own life to save 13 people. He swam 13 times in and out of the river to rescue passengers. He was too exhausted by the 14th rescue attempt and ended up drowning. He was the only fatality in the accident. The greater honey-guide birds have an interesting relationship with humans. They guide humans to the nests of wild bees. Upon reaching the nest, the honey hunters incapacitate the adult bees and open the nest. After the humans take their honey, the greater honey guide eats whatever is left. Thus, the birds help people in exchange for their food. At the demilitarized zone between South and North Korea, there are conference rooms where meetings between the two rival countries are held on rare occasion. It is said that when South Korean soldiers open the doors of the DMZ, they hold hands to prevent being pulled across the border into North Korea. The age and characteristic of snow can influence how sound waves travel, dampening them in some cases and enhancing them in others. For example, a thick layer of fresh and fluffy snow can absorb sound waves and dampen sound. That's because snowflakes are six-sided crystals with open spaces, which absorb sound waves and create a quieting effect. A man who was once diagnosed with cancer was told he had 6 months to live. He went back to the doctor 10 years later to tell them that he was still alive only to find out that the doctors who diagnosed him were all dead. He lived up to 102 years old. A man whose wife just divorced him found out that she would won a $1.3 million lottery jackpot and kept it secret to avoid having to split it with him. Due to a family court statute that penalized spouses for lying about their property during divorce, the judge ordered her to give him 100% of the winnings. This is a fire station in Italy, looks like a superhero base. Photographer Daniel Corden accidentally caught a photo of a meteor while trying to photograph an erupting volcano. A broken sea. It's actually a crack in the ice of Lake Baikal, captured by photographer Alexei Trofimov. An angry kangaroo knocking out a woman trying to photograph him, 1960. Meet Blade Runner. A humpback whale named this because she survived after being cut by a boat propeller in 2001. I got stuff thrown at me, rotten eggs, tomatoes. All of us coming off that airplane were wounded, and they were throwing stuff at us. I have told that to people around here, and they just can't believe it. It happened. They were yelling at us. I can refer back to when the World War II people came home, and they were heroes. When we came home, we were the enemy, I think. I felt like we were the enemy. Prisoners in Paris were offered freedom if they married prostitutes and moved to Louisiana. When NASA sent its first female astronaut Sally Ride into space for 6 days, the initial plan included sending a makeup kit and 100 tampons. You can buy bionic pants that you can use to sit down anywhere without a chair. In 1799, the son of a farmer in North Carolina found a large yellow rock in a creek on the family's farm. Unsure of the substance, the family used it as a bulky doorstop for 3 years. The rock turned out to be a 17-pound gold nugget, and it was the first documented commercial gold found in the US. Although the gold nugget was valued at approximately $3,600, the family unknowingly sold it to a jeweler for $3.50. Caffeine is the coffee plant's natural defense mechanism. It leaches into the surrounding soil as leaves from the plant drop and is decomposed into the soil. Since caffeine is toxic to other plants, it prevents other plants from growing around the coffee plant and competing for sunlight. After becoming trapped in a World Trade Center elevator on 9th November, window washer Jan Demzer used his squidgy handle to pry open the door, cut through drywall, and escape with 5 others minutes before the tower collapsed. A coating of white drywall is still visible on the handle, which can be seen at the 9/11 Memorial Museum. Egypt is not the country with the most pyramids. Sudan has 255 known pyramids, nearly twice the number scattered across Egypt. Marie Antoinette built an artificial village, complete with a farm and villagers, in the backyard of Chateau de Versailles, so she could pretend to be a peasant whenever she liked. A man built the world's largest treehouse known as the minister's treehouse after claiming God told him to do so. It was 97 feet tall. It took 12 years to build and burn down in 15 minutes in 2019. Texas didn't have safety regulations on natural gas until after a school blew up and killed hundreds of children. Nobody was held accountable, but they passed strict regulations afterwards. It was so bad that even Hitler sent a letter of condolence. Big breaking. World's largest iceberg has just broken off an Antarctic ice shelf. An eco-friendly company in the UK is growing a forest of chairs and tables. The company is called Full Grown and makes their furniture by growing new trees into special molds that shape them into chairs, lamps, tables and frames once they have matured, instead of using a mass manufacturing process that is more harsh on the environment. Glaciers and ice sheets hold about 69% of the world's fresh water.